Hi, this is the voice of Heidie Calero with another economic capsule for the Puerto Rico economy. Don't forget, those of you who like our economic capsules, to give us a like and to subscribe in YouTube under the voice of Heidie Calero. Today we are going to address a very important topic, and it's chasing economic growth, real economic growth, which has been at the heart of this discussion for the past now 15 years that we've had this economic depression in Puerto Rico. The first graph that I am depicting for you here is global economic growth in 2022. This is the World Economic Outlook forecast, and it says that the world is going to globally increase or grow at 4.4% growth. Then Latin America and the Caribbean at half that growth at 2.1%, but Panama at 7.3%. Dominican Republic, which is next door to us, 5.5%. Those were the days when Puerto Rico had higher growth than the Dominican Republic, and look, they have really outpaced economic growth of Puerto Rico. Honduras, 4.5%. In fact, all of Central America is doing much better. Guatemala, 4.3%, El Salvador, 3.8%, and Puerto Rico is that red bar that you see there, red column that you see there with what the PROMESA board is forecasting for 2022, which is 2.6%. Below that is Chile and Brazil for other reasons. So this is sort of the outlook for this fiscal year. Let's look at what PROMESA has said in this certified fiscal, the draft that they have now presented, certified fiscal plan as of January 27, 2022. And they have forecasted from 2022 through 2030. In fact, in some, they go as far as 2051. I don't know about you, but I'm not really going to be around in 2051. And so they have forecasted on the base scenario, if you will, that, as I said, for 2022, it's 2.6% growth. Thereafter, it starts declining, 0.9%, slight contraction, they say, negative 0.7%. Then rachitic, anemic growth of less than 1%. And then again, another contraction by 2029 through 2030. Now, at the heart of all this certified fiscal plan and what they have been saying to the Judge Taylor Swain and saying to all of us is that at the heart of this, yes, they are concerned about Puerto Rico's economic growth. And of course, in order to achieve that, you really need to engage in some fiscal measures and structural reforms. But before that, let me tell you what they say it's going to be the impact, the income impact of all these federal disaster funds that will be coming to Puerto Rico. And in this next graph, we depict for you what they say could be the impact on economic growth for the same forecast horizon that I depicted before. So for 2022, instead of 2.6% growth, they are saying that it's going to be 5.2% growth. May I remind you that our fiscal year goes from July 1st through June 30th. It's now February. And so if you expect that from February through June, we are going to achieve a turnaround of almost twice the economic growth that they have in their base scenario, they really are mishandling and misunderstanding what this Puerto Rico economy and the government of Puerto Rico is all about. But anyway, I give you what they say. They say the disaster funds will be coming, that's FEMA, those are Hurricane Maria, those are COVID, those are infrastructure, $4 billion. And all those income effects will generate economic growth in Puerto Rico. There's another characteristic here which it seems that they have not appreciated very well, and that's that the Puerto Rico economy is a very open economy. Most of our consumption comes from imports of merchandise. So if you are importing, you are not generating that much economic activity, because it's not that you're producing what you're consuming. Rather, you are importing it. So yes, retail trade, some of the transportation, they will, some of the services, they will contribute to economic growth, but never if you were consuming what was produced in Puerto Rico. So it's a bit weird that it would really generate 5.2%. But even more weird is that next year, 2023, they say that Puerto Rico would receive 5.3 billion. That's 1.3 billion more than in 2022, but that will only generate 0.6% growth instead of the 0.9% that they indicated in their base scenario. Go figure. I mean, who can explain that? By 2024, it's going to be $4.7 billion, and it's going to be negative 1.6%, whereas before it used to be negative 0.7%. And if we go on in 2026, an influx of $6.2 billion will not arrest economic growth, negative 0.5%. And you go on to the contraction in up to 2030 with 4.5 billion. I mean, those funds are not really making it unless they are really used effectively for infrastructure. Let's look at the next graph, which is the fiscal measures that already since the start of PROMESA and this board and this executive director, they have been saying, Puerto Rico, you need discipline. Well, they acknowledge, they say all these fiscal measures are going to decline economic growth. And here it is. For 2022, if they enact all those fiscal measures which they are saying in this fiscal plan, it's going to reduce fiscal growth by negative 0.8%. In 2023 by negative 0.4%. As you see there, it's all that orange segment that the bars are depicting. And so it starts sort of tapering down by 2026, negative 0.2%. But even more interestingly, they have said that economic growth that has been their concern cannot take place in Puerto Rico unless you engage in structural reforms. What are those structural reforms? Well, they're saying it's welfare reform, the earned income tax credit, which has to continue, the NAP, that's the nutritional assistance program, to engage in terms of having either volunteer work or some compulsory work that all these recipients may receive. Well, you know what? That is expected to grow or contribute to economic growth 0.15%. by fiscal year 2025. Nothing in 2022, nothing. In 2023, what we are seeing is the other, what they're saying is the doing business reform, that would contribute 0.1% to economic growth. Nothing else of those reforms. By 2024, we have energy reform for the first time, contributing 0.1% growth. And there's no other impact of ease of doing business or the welfare reform. And in 2025, we have those three, which are human capital or the welfare reform, contributing 0.15%. These are meager, anemic contributions. Energy reforms, 0.1%. Doing business reform, 0.1%. And in 2026, we have only the energy reform contributing 0.1% to economic growth and doing business 0.1%. So the numbers that you see on the right of those bars, if we have the cumulative effect of all these reforms, by 2023, it would be 0.1% to contributing to economic growth. By 2024, it would be only 0.1% again. By 2025, 0.35%. And by fiscal 2026, it will be 0.20. And guess what? There's another very important K to 12 education reform. You know when that is going to kick in? And it would contribute 0.01, not 0.1. 0.01%. You know in what year? Starting in fiscal 2037. I mean, what is this? We will continue analyzing all this certified fiscal plan because there's more to come. But it is important to really understand the context that chasing economic growth will require more of a push than what this certified fiscal plan is saying, what these measures, structural reforms, or even those fiscal measures will really contribute to economic growth. Until the next time, don't forget to give us a like in our capsules in YouTube, and don't forget, the economy is all of us. Thank you.